Hey there, and welcome. Let's talk about something that's, well, it's a frustrating reality for so many people. You're doing what you're supposed to do, you're taking the antidepressants, but that fog, that heaviness, it just isn't lifting. Today, we're going to dig into why the key to feeling better might not be in that pill bottle, but actually in your kitchen.
Does that hit home for you? I mean, it's such a common and honestly a soul-crushing place to be. You follow the doctor's orders, you take the medicine every day, but nothing. The weight is still there. If that's you, I really want you to hear this. You're not alone in this, not by a long shot. And even more important, it is not your fault. It just means there's probably a piece of the puzzle we're overlooking.
So here's the roadmap for our chat today. We'll start with why the pills sometimes just don't cut it. Then we'll look at the key ingredients your brain might be missing and how certain foods can actually stir up chaos in your mind. After that, we'll dive into the amazing gut-brain connection, talk about a way to give your brain a total reset, and finally, we'll wrap up with a simple plan to get you into a rhythm of recovery. Okay, let's jump right into part one, when the pills don't work. This is really the heart of the matter, isn't it? It's so confusing and honestly isolating when the one thing that's supposed to help just doesn't. Figuring out why this happens is the absolute first step to finding a solution that actually works.
And this is the big question, right? It seems so simple. The medicine is designed to fix a problem in your brain. So why isn't it working? Well, the truth is, our brains are way more complicated than a simple machine. And the answer to that question? It often lies in a place you might not expect at all. And that brings us to the central idea for our whole discussion. What if the problem isn't the medicine itself? What if the medicine is trying to do its job, but it's being sabotaged by the food you're eating? Now that's a really powerful idea, because if it's true, it means you have a whole lot more control over how you feel than you might believe.
All right, on to section 2. Let's talk about your brain's missing ingredients, the science of actually feeling good. You know, to really get why food matters so much, we have to think of the brain less like some big mystery box and more like a high-performance engine. And just like any engine, it can't run without the right fuel and the right raw materials. It needs these things to literally build the chemicals that make you feel happy and stable.
Okay, check this out because this is so important. Your feel-good chemicals, like serotonin, your brain literally has to build it from scratch. The building block it uses is called tryptophan. And for dopamine, that feeling of reward and motivation, that's built from something called tyrosine. So where do you get these essential building blocks? Simple. Protein. We're talking about things like meat, fish, and eggs. Your medication can help you use the serotonin you have, but it can't build it for you. Your body needs the raw materials from your food to do that.
But now, think about the standard diet so many of us eat today. It's full of processed junk food, it's loaded with sugar and simple carbs, and it's seriously lacking in high-quality protein. If this sounds familiar, it means your brain is basically being starved of the very materials it needs to make you feel good. It's like trying to build a house with no bricks. Your brain is just running on fumes.
I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of your antidepressant medication as a really talented construction worker. It shows up, ready to work, ready to build a better mood. But the food you eat? That's the lumber, the nails, the concrete, all the raw materials. You can have the best construction worker in the world, but if they show up to an empty site with no materials, what can they do? Absolutely nothing. Your medicine needs your food to be able to work.
So, we've talked about what's missing from your diet. But here's the other side of the coin. It's also about what you're adding to it. The wrong kinds of food don't just do nothing. They actively create chaos. They can seriously destabilize your mood. Let's look at the 3 big ways this happens.
First up, we have the blood sugar roller coaster. And we have all been on this ride. You eat something sweet, maybe a donut or a sugary drink, and for a little while, you feel great. That's that first bar, that initial boost. But what goes up must come down. Your body pumps out insulin to deal with the sugar, and boom, your blood sugar crashes. That's the second bar. And that crash isn't just about feeling tired. It's a mental crash that triggers anxiety, makes you irritable, and leaves you feeling completely drained. It's a vicious cycle.
The second big problem is something called brain inflammation. Now, when you eat a lot of processed foods, unhealthy fats, and sugar, it creates this low-level irritation all through your body. Well, guess what? Your brain feels that too.
It's almost like your brain is constantly on edge in a state of chronic irritation. And this isn't some abstract idea. It directly leads to those feelings of apathy, where you just don't care about anything, plus anxiety and that awful brain fog that makes it impossible to think clearly.
And number 3 is just plain old energy drain. You know that feeling after a huge holiday meal, that food coma? That's because digestion takes up a massive amount of your body's energy. So if you're eating or snacking all day long, your body's constantly working, constantly digesting. All that energy is being sent to your stomach, which means there's less energy available for your brain. It's no wonder you end up feeling so tired and unfocused.
Now this all leads us to one of the most incredible discoveries in modern science, the gut-brain connection. For the longest time, we thought of the brain and the gut as two completely separate things, but now we know there is literally an information superhighway running between them. What happens in your gut does not stay in your gut. It directly shapes your mood, your thoughts, everything.
This whole system is called the gut-brain axis, and it's a two-way street. Think about it. When you get nervous, you feel butterflies in your stomach, right? That's your brain talking to your gut. But what we're learning now is that the traffic going the other way, from the gut to the brain, is just as, if not more powerful. If your gut is unhealthy and inflamed, it's like it's sending a constant barrage of SOS signals up to your brain, fueling feelings of anxiety and depression.
So, who are the main culprits here? What's wrecking this connection? Well, refined sugar is a big one. It's like junk food for the bad bacteria in your gut. Trans fats, the kind you find in a lot of fried and packaged foods, are pure inflammation fuel. For a lot of people, gluten can be a major problem. And of course, too much alcohol is just plain toxic to your gut. All of these things are like roadblocks and potholes on that gut-brain highway.
Okay, so we have missing ingredients, a blood sugar roller coaster, inflammation, and a messed up gut. I know, it sounds like a lot to deal with, but what if I told you the solution is actually surprisingly simple? The key is giving your system, especially your brain, a much-needed break. And believe it or not, the path to healing can actually start with not eating. Now, let's be really clear about what we mean by fasting. This isn't about deprivation or some crazy fad diet. Intermittent fasting is just an eating pattern. It's about creating a window of time each day when you're not eating so your body can take a break from constant digestion and switch its focus over to repair and cleanup mode. That's all it is.
And when you do this, the benefits for your brain are just incredible. First, inflammation goes way down. When your gut gets a rest, your whole system calms down. Second, you flip a switch on a deep cellular repair process. We'll get to that in a second. And third, you finally get off that blood sugar roller coaster. Your body gets a chance to reset, which stops those awful mood swings in their tracks.
So let's talk about that cellular repair. It's a process called autophagy, which sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. It literally means self-eating. Just think of it like your body's own internal cleanup crew. Once you've been fasting for around 16 hours or so, this crew gets to work. It goes around, finds old, junky, damaged cells, including in your brain, and recycles them. It's like a deep spring cleaning for your brain cells. All right, final section. We've made it clear that when you eat is a huge deal. But obviously, what you eat when you do eat is just as important. So let's put it all together and look at a simple, practical plan for getting into a brain-friendly rhythm of recovery. So let's walk through this simple rhythm. In the morning, instead of a sugary breakfast, you just focus on water. Maybe you add some healthy fats, like MCT oil, which is great fuel for your brain and won't spike your blood sugar. Then around midday, that's when you have your first meal and you make it focused on protein. Fish, eggs, chicken, to give your brain all those building blocks we need. And for your evening meal, you keep it a bit lighter, maybe with some leafy greens to get those B vitamins, which helps with sleep and energy. See? It's not complicated. It's just a calm, predictable pattern that supports your brain. I really want this to sink in for a moment. If you've been struggling for a long time, it is so easy to start feeling like you're just broken, like something is fundamentally wrong with you. But I want to offer you a different idea. What if you're not broken? What if your brain is just completely and utterly exhausted? Worn out from the constant sugar crashes, the inflammation, the nonstop work. Maybe it just needs a break. And that's the question I want to leave you with. We always think of healing as something we have to do. We take a pill, we go to therapy, and yes, those things can be absolutely essential. But what if the most powerful first step isn't about doing anything at all? What if it's about stopping? Just stopping the cycle, stopping the chaos, and simply giving your mind the peace and quiet it needs to finally start healing itself. Think about that. Thanks so much for joining me today.